Prince William made a delightful and memorable visit to New York City, endearing himself to both New Yorkers and tourists alike. The 41-year-old Prince of Wales charmed everyone he met during his city tour. He shared some light-hearted banter with people on the streets, exhibiting his down-to-earth nature. While on his visit, Prince William joked with a Brazilian tourist about the weather, suggesting they had brought some Brazilian warmth with them. He also expressed his desire to return to New York with his family to a British woman he met. In a particularly humorous moment, he playfully referred to a group of 60-year-old women on a joint birthday trip as rowdy. Among the group was Barb Patterson, who engaged in a friendly exchange with the prince, where he suggested she was 50 instead of 60. The prince's visit coincided with his participation in the Earthshot Summit, where he announced the finalists and winners of the Earthshot Prize. The prize recognizes innovative efforts to protect and restore nature, clean the air, and revive our oceans. For the Earthshot Prize to protect and restore nature, the 2023 finalists include Acción Andina in Peru, which focuses on preserving native high Andean forest ecosystems across South America. Freetown the Tree Town in Sierra Leone, a community-driven initiative promoting tree preservation in Freetown, Sierra Leone's capital. Belterra in Brazil, working with smallholder farmers to restore forests through sustainable agricultural practices. In the Earthshot Prize to Clean Our Air category, the 2023 finalists are Polish Smog Alert in Poland, a highly effective conservation campaign group advocating for policy changes and air quality improvements. Enso in the UK, creating sustainable tires for electric vehicles to reduce harmful tire pollution. Hyorest in Hong Kong, developing a new approach to building and recycling lithium-ion batteries for cleaner electric cars. For the Earthshot Prize to Revive Our Oceans, the 2023 finalists are Abelobi in South Africa, using scalable technology to work with small fishing communities for sustainable fishing practices. Coastal 500, a global network of mayors and local government leaders dedicated to restoring ocean habitats and advocating for coastal protection. Wild Aid Marine Program, a global nonprofit organization focused on ocean conservation through partnerships and knowledge sharing. During his walkabout in New York City, Prince William spent time chatting with people, taking selfies, and inquiring about their hometowns. His presence caused one woman to excitedly call her mother, who couldn't believe she was just feet away from the prince. The visit also included a stop at FENY 10 House, a fire station opposite the World Trade Center. Prince William was given a tour by Laura Kavanagh, which included a memorial honoring the 6 firefighters who lost their lives on 9/11. Even in the midst of a royal visit, New York City's quirks made their presence felt, with a rat scurrying across the front of the fire station while the prince was inside. Earlier in the day, Prince William met with Prince Albert of Monaco and former Microsoft CEO Bill Gates as part of the Earthshot Summit. Dressed in a classic suit and skinny tie, he discussed global efforts to address environmental issues. Prince William also revealed that he started his day with a run in Central Park, enjoying the fresh air and the city's vibrant atmosphere. He mentioned how the pandemic and the passing of his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, had delayed his return to New York. Although Princess Kate visited a youth center in East London during this time, Prince William's engaging visit to New York left a lasting impression on those he met. The future king, Prince William, is currently in New York on a visit that involves various activities related to the Earthshot Prize and environmental issues. He is also here to meet with New York's first responders and engage with leaders at the United Nations. In addition to his royal duties, Prince William has his own charity dedicated to addressing climate change. His 2-day visit to the United States began with a striking entrance as he crossed the Hudson River, with the iconic Manhattan skyline in the background. Unlike his usual royal travel, Prince William arrived in New York on a commercial flight. His first stop was Governor's Island, where he met with students, volunteers, and restaurateurs involved in the Billion Oyster Project. This initiative aims to restore oyster beds in New York Harbor. Prince William, standing at the bow of a boat alongside Pete Malinowski, co-founder and executive director of the Billion Oyster Project, observed the ongoing efforts on an outcrop at the heart of the operation. Despite persistent rain, the Manhattan skyline was still visible, with the top floors of the tallest skyscrapers shrouded in mist. During his visit, Prince William is actively promoting the Earthshot Prize, which celebrates and supports solutions to repair the planet. He will also announce the finalists for the 2023 edition of the prize. Later, he is scheduled to hold discussions with UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres as the 78th session of the UN General Assembly commences. These talks will focus on climate change, environmental issues, and the innovative solutions fostered by the Earthshot Prize around the world. Prince William's itinerary includes a visit to the Hatchery Center for Young Oysters and a tour of tanks where the next generation of oysters is being nurtured. He will also interact with a group of high school students who volunteer and learn about the project aimed at replenishing the oyster population. This project involves relocating oyster larvae to a nursery constructed from discarded and cleaned oyster shells collected from 75 seafood restaurants in New York. These oyster shells are kept in metal cages in the East River, with the hope that these mollusks, unfit for consumption due to water pollution, will create oyster reefs. These reefs offer valuable benefits including water filtration, the creation of new habitats, and protection against storms. Earlier in his visit, Prince William commended Ecuador for its crucial efforts in the battle against climate change. He met with President Guillermo Lasso Mendoza before unveiling this year's Earthshot Prize finalists. During the meeting, he expressed his appreciation for Ecuador's commitment to the environment. Prince William's visit coincides with Climate Week in New York and the 78th UN General Assembly, where representatives from nearly 200 countries are gathered. While he won't address the assembly, he held discussions with UN Chief Antonio Guterres about accelerating efforts to combat climate change and safeguard the environment. Today, Prince William will host a gathering of business leaders, climate activists, and policymakers. Attendees include UN Special Climate Envoy Michael Bloomberg, former New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. President Lasso highlighted Ecuador's dedication to environmental protection, mentioning that Ecuadorians recently voted to ban oil drilling in Yasuni National Park, a biodiverse area within the Amazon rainforest. The country is also actively pursuing other sustainability initiatives, such as safeguarding its waters and promoting green finance. In response, Prince William praised Ecuador's environmental initiatives as historic and expressed his amazement at the country's efforts. He also humorously remarked on the weather, noting the contrast between the rainy Monday when he arrived and the sunny skies over Manhattan during his visit. Prince William's visit to New York serves as a testament to his commitment to environmental causes and international cooperation in addressing climate change. In the absence of Prince William, who is currently away on a business trip, Princess Kate continued with her own royal engagements. Recently, she was spotted visiting a charity organization in East London. Meanwhile, Prince Charles is in New York to announce the 15 finalists of this year's Earthshot Prize, which recognizes and rewards companies and projects dedicated to finding solutions to climate change. He played a pivotal role in establishing these awards back in 2020, and each year, 5 winners are awarded £1 million to support their respective environmental projects. Upon his arrival in the United States, Prince William expressed his excitement, stating, "It's so good to be back in the United States. No one does optimism and innovation quite like the American people, so it's only fitting that we unveil this year's Earthshot finalists in New York City." He also drew a historical parallel, referencing the United Nations efforts 80 years ago in the same city to address global challenges. He emphasized the need for bold action to create a healthier and more sustainable world. Before the main event, Prince William met with UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. The two appeared in high spirits as they toured the United Nations headquarters, where world leaders were gathered for their annual summit. During his visit to Governor's Island, Prince William interacted with school children studying marine biology and spoke with individuals involved in the Billion Oyster Project. He learned about the initiative to repurpose oyster shells donated by 75 restaurants in New York instead of sending them to landfill sites. In an environmentally conscious act, Prince William even waded waist-deep into the East River to release some oysters into the water. After this engagement, he changed into a suit for a visit to the UN, ahead of a climate summit hosted by Secretary General Guterres. During their meeting, they discussed efforts to enhance the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and financing for development. Leaders from around the world are gathering at the United Nations to discuss the Sustainable Development Goals, a 2015 agenda that includes objectives such as eradicating hunger and extreme poverty, combating climate change, and achieving gender equality. Guterres emphasized the need for a global rescue plan to achieve these goals. Despite being in the United States, there are no plans for Prince William to meet his estranged brother, Prince Harry, who recently concluded the Invictus Games in Germany. Prince William left Princess Kate and their children at home while traveling to the U.S. Kate is also not expected to join him for the Earthshot Award ceremony in Singapore in November. The Earthshot Prize was founded by Prince William 3 years ago with the aim of fostering optimism and celebrating individuals and organizations driving positive environmental change. Winners in the prize's 5 categories receive £1 million each to support and expand their work. This visit to New York is significant as it marks Prince William's first trip to the city since 2014 and was postponed from the previous year due to the death of Queen Elizabeth II, his grandmother. Before his arrival in New York, a spokesperson from Kensington Palace expressed Prince William's appreciation for the support and love shown by the American people during challenging times. He eagerly anticipated reconnecting with New Yorkers during his visit. During his trip, Prince William is also scheduled to visit a fire station in Manhattan, where he will meet with first responders and discuss mental health. This visit coincides with the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. Although U.S. President Joe Biden is attending the same events in New York, a meeting between him and Prince William is considered unlikely, as they already met last year in Boston. In a related development, Prince Harry delivered an emotional closing speech at the Invictus Games, where he emphasized that veterans should not define themselves solely by their uniforms. Harry himself has not worn a military uniform since he and Meghan moved away from the UK in 2020, and he was stripped of his military titles. At the Queen's funeral last year, he wore a suit while his father, King Charles, and his older brother, Prince William, wore their uniforms. During the ceremony, Meghan Markle, Harry's wife, stood by his side, beaming with pride, especially when Team USA took their place for the closing ceremony of the Invictus Games. Dear friend, if you like everything new about the royal family and don't want to miss all the novelties, subscribe to our channel and like it. By doing so, you take part in our development. We work for you.